Okay, the Giving Voice to Values article that I chose is titled Harrison Industries. It has to do with Donna Mason and her boss Miles and an ethical decision that she was faced with. He basically asked Mason to make a journal entry for $5 million for unpaid severances. And he told her that they were shutting down a division, although the division had just reported some of their best earnings over the last few years. So this was obviously a lie, and Mason knew this. Mason could tell that Miles had the intent to deceive shareholders by misstating their financials. So she's basically faced with the decision. She tried to stand up to Miles, and now she's faced with the decision on how to escalate the issue and handle it. So the first question was, what arguments that is she gonna have to overcome and face, and what are the motives behind these rationalizations? So first of all, the first argument was made by Miles, and he said, it's not your job to question what I tell you to do. Your job is to obey orders. The next argument that she was faced with was from a fellow co-worker that said, basically how things work around here is to get along, you have to go along. There's no questioning, just kind of put your head down and do your job. And then Miles also threatened her with grounds of termination. He said, if you don't do this, that we basically have a reason to fire you. And some of the motivations that can be coming behind these are obviously pressure from upper management, from the board. They have earnings to meet, projections to meet, and then bonuses being tied to performance. That will push managers to use these kinds of aggressive accounting techniques and kind of skew what the rules are to try to inflate their financials and appear as if they're doing better than they actually were. So what is at stake here? Who are the key parties, and what's at stake for them with this decision that Mason is faced with? And first of all, the integrity of the company is at stake, and the culture. It sounds like the culture is already suffering at the company, and then someone needs to take a stand to change this. And if this was something that went on for previous years and got uncovered, the integrity of the company would suffer, the reputation, they would lose business, and there could be some serious implications of this. They could face severe fines and loss of future business. Worst case scenario, careers and livelihoods could be lost, retirements, millions of dollars from stakeholders, and college funds, things of that nature are all at stake here. And who does Donna have an ethical obligation to? She has an obligation to the public, to the company, to the stakeholders, and herself. She needs to make sure that whatever decision she makes, that she needs to be comfortable with and be able to live with. And she really needs to consider all of these possible outcomes in order to make the best decision possible. And so what can Donna do at this point when she's been threatened with her job and she has the pressure to make this decision? And she really needs to clarify what her job is as an accountant and explain that her job isn't just to take orders, it's to understand who her obligation is to. And of course she has an obligation to the company, but she also has an obligation to the public and the company's shareholders. And when those three obligations are considered, it's obvious that this is the wrong decision with what's at stake. She also needs to clarify that she's willing to blow the whistle and escalate this up the chain. Like, this isn't just going to be covered up. I'm not just going to roll over. I am willing to escalate this. And if she does get terminated, they need to understand that there can be a lawsuit on their hands. Like, she's not just going to go quietly. She needs to take a final stand and commit to what she's doing. And then she can also reach out to the company's audit committee or hotline, whatever they have in place. And in order to give voice to her values, she needs to be able to escalate this up the proper chain and explain that what she is being asked to do is wrong and why it's wrong. If she can help management, whether upper management is involved or not, they need to know that this can cause potential harm, and the bad outweighs the good that this is going to do for them. And then she also needs to recommend internal controls in order to improve the culture that's at the company currently. They really have a lot of work to do, and internal controls could actually help improve the culture and the current ethical and moral state that the company's in. And then she just needs to really dig in and stick with what she believes in.